Okay, welcome back to Career Studies. So this week we're going to talk about career applications again. We're going to start with a few pointers about when you pick up your application. Then we're going to talk step by step about filling out your application, and we're going to wrap it up with you completing your own application. Going to be covering a bunch of different standards through this lesson. You can take a look at the standards right here. And the desired result for this lesson, by the end of this lesson, you will have practical experience with filling out your own job application. So before we get started, I want to just remind you of a few things that we've gone over in other lessons. So first thing, when you go to pick up your application, you're going to dress appropriately. You never know who you're going to run into, and chances are you're going to run into the person who may hire you. So be sure that you dress up, or at least dress appropriately for when you go to pick up your application. Second thing, take the application home with you. It's a really good idea to take a folder or something that you can put your application in, because you do not want to fold your application. You want to keep it nice and neat and crisp. So when you return it, it looks nice and clean. It's a good idea to make a copy of it so you can practice writing it out. So when you're ready to go, you can do a final draft and turn that into your potential future employer. And you want to choose your references wisely. So not only are you not going to, and let me repeat myself, do not choose mom, dad, or people that live in your household, but also choose people who will be friendly on the phone and who know you and who will speak well of you. So think about who you're going to choose. And then you want to ask those people for permission. You do not want those people to be surprised. So you're going to ask them, and then after you've turned in your application, you might even want to give them a call or just give them a heads up and say, hey, I just turned in some applications. You might get a phone call asking about me. So let them know, because the last thing you want to do is have them be goofy and, a potential employer calls and they answer the phone like, yo, what's up? You want to have them be professional as well. So choose your references wisely and let them know that they could be getting calls from potential employers. And then when you're finally done with your application, you want to be sure that you check everything for accuracy. Spelling does count. Make sure everything's nice, neat, tidy, clean, wrapped up, and then you are ready to submit it. So for this assignment, you're going to be filling out a job application. The first part of it, very easy. It asks for basic demographics. Demographics are it's information about you. You know all this. It's easy. You're going to fill it out. The only thing that I want to point out about this is your email. You can use your school email address. That is fine. But if this were a real life situation, you would probably want to use your personal email address. So regarding personal email addresses, please be sure that you use an appropriate email address if this was a real case scenario. You want to use something that if an employer were to look at it, they would not be scared or they would not think ill of you. So when you're filling this out, one of the things I will check or I will look at is to make sure that the email address is appropriate. Okay, next section has to do with when you're available. So you can say you're available immediately. If this was a real life situation, you could also put a specific date that you were available. So let's say that you were applying for a summer job. Well, you could put the date that school gets out. You could put whatever date you want. But in this case, you can put immediately. Position applied for, well, we're going to pretend that you're applying for a cashier position, just to keep things simple. So that is a position that you can put on the application. Desired salary. Now, here, while you are still in high school, we're going to put negotiable, because in this situation, you are really not in a position to be demanding a particular salary. When you get out of school and you start having specific skills and you have a trade, that is when that you will be negotiating. different salaries, and you will be saying what your salary range is. Right now, it is not recommended for high school students to go in and say, well, I think I should be making $15 an hour, or whatever your desired, putting a cap on it. At this point, when I did the research to see what employers expect of high school students, right now what's expected is for you guys to either leave that blank or to put negotiable. So we're going to go with that, and that is the best advice I can give you, that when you're starting, you're not in a position to be too demanding, but when you get out of high school, then you can start, asking for a specific salary, depending on the skills that you have. Okay, for employment history, I have in the example, I have how I have this filled out. If you have a previous job, you can go ahead and fill this out using your previous job. If you do not have a previous job, you can take a look at the example to see how I filled this out. Remember from a previous lesson, we talked about how you do not want to leave these areas blank. So you're either going to be putting N/A for not applicable or a dash, but I do have an example showing you how to fill out this section. Okay, so references, and we already talked about references just a little bit. Remember, your references cannot be your family members. They cannot be people that live with you. So you need to come up with some references. And it is a good idea to start coming up with references now and to start thinking about it, because you guys will eventually be looking for jobs if you haven't already. So for this application, you're coming up with 3 different people for references. And references could be neighbors, they could be family friends, they could be teachers. So you'll be coming up with 3 different people and putting their name for their company. That is where that person works. That's what they mean by company. And the address, you can either put the person's home address or their work address. They will let you do either. And for the phone, that is the phone number where they would contact that person. And I also have an example of this posted for you. So let's check. Did we achieve our goals? So we started with a reminder of how to pick up the application. And then we talked about how to fill out the application. And there is an example of a completed application attached to this assignment. So your job is to complete the assignment, and that is the only thing that you are doing this week. So we have a job application there for you to fill out, and that is what you're doing. Let me know if you have any questions. I would be very happy to help you.